Carol Ann. So good body position. Your legs and hips are high in the water. It means you have a level body position. Good rotation. And your extension is also pretty good. So and head position. So some of the main issues that I see with people you don't have. Now, sorry, the train's going by my house. I don't know if you can hear that. It looks like you may be holding your breath slightly on some of this, like holding your breath and then exhaling just before you breathe. If that's the case, one of the things you can work on is trying to get a smooth exhalation, a continuous from when you put your face back in the water all the way until you're ready to turn to breathe, rather than holding on to it and then exhaling forcefully right before you breathe. Back to the strokes. So your extension is pretty good, and if you remember we talked about some of this. And I know you had shoulder surgery, so you got to be careful with what you do. But everybody has room for a little bit of improvement with the extension, and that the way you would notice that is if you are sort of closing the gap in between your arm, shoulder, and your cheek or ear. So with each stroke, you would want your shoulder basically to rub your ear or rub your chin. That would be a good sign of extending as fully as possible. Your kick looks like it's pretty good technically. Maybe you could allow a little more bend through your knee, so the kick generates in your hip, and then you want it to be a snap down through your foot. Another thing you can see a little bit of from this angle is that your toes are pointed a bit downward. I see this in a lot of runners. What that does is that you don't get quite the flipper effect as for somebody who has like really loose ankles and their toes would be plantar flexed. Their foot would be plantar flexed, meaning toes are pointed. Point you're reaching to with the strokes, pretty good. That left one might be coming in front of your head just a bit more than it needs to, but it's not bad at all. And the line you're pulling back is more or less a straight line back, which is what you want to see. So really very good as far as technique goes, with all that. Now, with respect to the way you catch, your left arm does a little bit of a forearm internal pull, and then the elbow leads the stroke back slightly. So there's two things going on with that that I'll talk about on the next round. But right arm, more or less a straight arm pull through the first 40% of the stroke, and then you get a little bit of the elbow slip or elbow leading the stroke. With the elbow leading the stroke, what that means is that once you're getting into the 30% of the way through your stroke, you're, rather than kind of arching your arm up and over the high elbow catch that I know you know all about, you're dropping the elbow and giving up the leverage that you have. Now, again, it could be related to having the shoulder surgery recently, so you don't want to push that too hard. So if I was to describe or rate the technique, your right arm is getting a better pull at the moment than your left arm. With the left arm, when you rotate internal with your forearm like that, you shift the workload a little more to your bicep. That's not necessarily bad, but the lats and your back are the main muscles that you really want to have pulling you through the water. They're the biggest muscles, and they're also the most energy efficient, or well designed for swimming. You're doing a good job finishing both the strokes, so you're not finishing too early or anything. So it's really a matter of just the catch technique on the underwater stuff. Now here you can see pretty much a straight line back with both arms. That's really good. And then here we just had some one-arm drill. So the idea with one-arm drill is that you try to get the best high elbow catch. Early vertical forearm is another name for it. Flexibility, upper body flexibility is going to be some of it. I think if you can include some stuff like lat pull downs or assisted pull-ups and some dips in your strength routine, that may help your swim strength. It may translate over somewhat. I would hope it would. Beyond that, I wish there was some major flaw I could point out for you and say this is going to speed you up quite a lot. But there really is nothing terrible with your stroke. I mean, it's pretty good all in all, honestly. Fixing the catch with both arms, making those as correct as possible will help. But you're out of water, or excuse me, but the view that I have of you from out of the water is very smooth. Good rotation, good extension, decent kick, head position. So those are some of the main things that would be an easy fix, and you don't have those. You swim as much as you can, within the limits of your ability with it. Okay, so looking at your left arm in a freeze frame, pretty good extension, good rotation, and then arm's going to start pulling in the next couple frames here. So now you're starting to pull. So this is a straight arm pull at the beginning. Then you can see your forearm starting to curve under your torso right there, right? So you're using some bicep, some lats on that move. And then from this frame, see how the elbow is going to the right ahead of your forearm? In an ideal situation, you would want the forearm directly up and down like it is here, but earlier in the stroke. That's why it's called early vertical forearm. And then good finish to the stroke, so you push all the way through. So it's just that little tricky part, in the first half of the stroke. So here, good extension forward. Get a nice rotation as you're going along. And then starting to pull. More or less a straight arm in the sense that your upper arm and forearm are at the same angle here. It's basically the second best way to swim. And then getting a decent catch through here. And then from here to here, see how that elbow is in front of going to the left now, in front of the forearm. That's what you want to work on, getting that forearm to stay straight up and down or vertical. Hope that all helps.